What's up, guys? Mike from the Air Tech Podcast, and I got a fun one for you. If you're listening for the first time, if you're listening to the first time, glad to have you on. But without further ado, and if you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm new to this whole technology of this circle light thing in my face, so bear with me. But anyway, more important things moving forward. I got the excuse me, the talented Miss Carolina Teague on. She is a Cowboys talk on ESPN 975, a Spurs reporter, sports reporter, if you want to call it that too. Spurs reporter for San Antonio Sports Star and the host of the League of Her Own podcast. Carolina, welcome to the air raid. I'm honored, first of all, honored to have you on and ready to talk some sports.
I'm honored that you invited me, so I'm very, very happy to be here, and I cannot wait.
First things first, tell the listeners a little brief about yourself and how in the world did you get into sports?
Oh man, it's just like a snowball effect. So basically, my whole life, I'm wearing the shirt right now. 90s Bulls fan my whole life. Like when I
Very
was
nice.
growing up, super like I would say obsessed with the Bulls to the point where like I would cry if they lost. Like that's the type of kid I was. And I would watch every single game religiously because Michael Jordan, growing up on the south side of Chicago, he inspired me. Like I felt like as long as you work hard and doesn't matter how many times you fall, get back up. I really, his words that he spoke really resonated with kids like Gatorade, Nike. He was all in the mix with, the Jordan effect is what they called it. And I was one of those kids who just fell into the Jordan effect trap. And that made me, fall in love with sports. And life happened. I moved from the south side of Chicago to San Antonio, Texas. Spurs started winning, followed the Spurs closely. And I was always, a small kid and knew that being in sports wasn't really, or playing sports wasn't really for me. I tried playing baseball. I played on the boys team. And then I just kind of, kept up with sports until one day there was a tryout for a sports radio competition, and I tried out, and there was over 150 candidates, and
Wow.
mostly male, and I beat all of them for the spot on sports radio. So that's how I got my start in sports. I loved radio, loved sports, kept up with it, and everything just perfectly fell into place and aligned for that moment. Ever since that moment, ever since I won, I was the only girl to win that competition, which isn't neither here nor there. Gender is not, important really, but
Right.
out of those winners, like I said, I was the only woman who won that competition, and it turned into a snowball effect from there, and that's how I got my start.
No, I watched some of your clips. Obviously not religiously, but wonderful work nonetheless. And I do listen to your pod, and I
Thank
on the
you.
way home. And for anybody out there, if you don't listen, definitely listen to it. Get stuff real quick. I know we're not going to obviously talk much about the Spurs, but obviously being a Thunder fan, we're kind of close in connection.
Yeah.
I love me some Greg Popovich. I think he's one of the greatest of all time as a coach. Is he about at the end of his coaching career, do you think?
That is the $1 million question that nobody knows the answer to.
Exactly.
I thought he was going to quit 2 years ago, 2 years ago. So he's still there. He was just recently asked when he visited New York. The New York reporters are obviously vicious.
Oh,
They asked him,
yes.
when are you going to retire? And he said, I'm going to retire when I'm ready. And he doesn't say when he's ready. So, I mean, he's still here, kicking, alive, well, coaching the young Spurs. He actually enjoys coaching this losing team more than he, or just as much as he enjoys coaching the winning team. And I think he sees it as a challenge. So I don't know when he's going to retire. I'm thinking it's coming around the corner soon because a couple years ago when I would cover the team and be in the
Hmm.
locker rooms, it was a lot more strict. This year, I'm in the locker rooms pretty much all the time, and I noticed that his demeanor is a lot more nonchalant. That's not saying that he's a less caring coach, but to me it's like way more laid back. He cracks more jokes, so I've seen this different side of Pop this year that I've never seen before. So part of me thinks that it might be coming around the corner soon, just because he's changed as far as personality is concerned. But you never know. I've asked players personally. I've asked Derek White when you think he's gonna, leave, and he said, "I don't know. It's whenever Pop is ready," and that's his answer to everybody. Whenever I'm ready, I'm leaving, and I just don't know when that's coming. So, but OKC Thunder. I know you don't really. You said you follow them, um, but their core, their young core, they remind me so much of the Spurs young core. They have
Hmm.
a lot of similarities. So that's one thing that I do notice about the Thunder and the Spurs. There's a lot of similarities within both of those teams, and there's a lot of talent on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're just building their young core right now, and that's what it seems like. And so it's going to be exciting to not only see the Spurs rebuild, but to see the Thunder's rebuild as well.
Well, absolutely. I was real quick. I was at the game. He got ejected. Um, so I don't know what he said. Maybe you can fill in if you do know by chance. But I would say probably towards that woman referee. I would say probably
Oh,
something that was not very appropriate. I would say, but it's Greg Popovich. He can say what he wants, in my opinion.
I well clearly he can't because he got ejected. You might be
Touche,
top. You can't say
touche.
because you will get kicked out.
To her, yes, you will. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Of course, you're obviously a Dallas Cowboy, um, close to them. I'm sure you're a wonderful fan of theirs as well.
I'm a
Uh,
Bears fan, but continue.
I knew that, but I know all the listeners like, wait a minute, she's a yeah. There you go. Uh,
Well, my response is like, if you like, what do you expect? Like, I'm in Texas. If I'm gonna talk about the Bears, like nobody watch my stuff. Now, unless I do like a YouTube show or something, but I'm on air.
right.
I'm like reporting. Like that's what I do. So if I were to sit here and tell the sports producer, "Hey, can I talk about the Bears today?" Unless it's national news, they're gonna be like, "Why?" You know what I mean? So of course I'm
Exactly.
gonna talk about the Cowboys. Of course I'm gonna keep up with them. But I'm on sports radio. Imagine me on sports radio talking about the Bears in San Antonio. That wouldn't make any sense. So
Yeah.
people always forget that I am a Bears fan. I will say that, and it's like they get mad at that. Like they're like, "Well, you're not a real Cowboys fan." Well, I'm not here to be a fan. I'm here to be
Hmm.
a sports talk commentator. I'm here to be a reporter, and I know I'm ranting, but that's it. Like seriously, like get it together. Like I'm obviously going to cover the things where I'm in the vicinity of. Now, granted, if I get a job in Chicago, I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be a kid in a candy store,
Of
but I'm a kid
course.
in a candy store here talking about the Cowboys too because I like them, even though their fans sometimes drive me crazy because they cannot
Yeah.
take the slightest ounce of criticism.
No, a buddy of mine, he texted me right before the show. He's like, "Oh man, she's a Cowboys." Like, if you do your research, no, but it's all about research, people. But anyway, of course, Dallas fans are so delusional regarding their team and the fact. I mean, I can't say much. My team's lost now 6 straight losing season with Denver, but nonetheless, obviously you're closer to that area. I I enjoy them losing personally. I can't stand the organization. I still personally believe Jerry Jones is the issue when it comes to that organization. I know Jerry Jones says Mike McCarthy's safe and this, that, something else. Could we see them playing a role in this Sean Payton, I guess your sweepstakes type of thing? I know Dan Quinn's coming back as a D coordinator, which is huge for them, but they got a lot of talent that's really not getting them out of that divisional playoff round. And this past week, and their performance wasn't great. And you mean, no offense, let's be honest. I don't know why Zeke was playing center. And I don't understand the last play when you threw 8 yards down the field, and that was really about it. But could we see a big major shakeup, in your opinion, with Dallas, or are we kind of stuck with Mike McCarthy in Dallas?
If you want me to be completely honest with you, I think that the Dallas Cowboys are stuck with Mike McCarthy. Now, there's a lot of people making the bold prediction that he's going to be fired, but I don't know what part of the country do you live in?
Oklahoma City,
You live in Oklahoma City.
literally
Okay,
right
so
up.
you're pretty
Yep.
close to Dallas. Okay, well, I don't know if you get to hear like Dallas radio, Dallas, news, South Texas news. Your Cowboys are big down here, and if you would think that Mike McCarthy is, came out the womb of Jesus Christ because the way that they talk about Mike McCarthy is like he's the second coming of the best coach that they ever had.
Hmm.
So it's not only do the media talking heads have a really liking to him, but Jerry Jones has made those mentions as well. I think the issues with the Cowboys is not necessarily Mike McCarthy. I mean, they've always had a time management issue, especially in the playoffs, and you kind of saw that as evidenced against the 49ers the last game and then last year when they lost to the 49ers again. So I think the 49ers might be their um,
Kryptonite.
kryptonite for sure. Yeah, definitely. But um, as far as firing him, I don't think it's going to happen just based off of, why would you fire him? They went to the playoffs twice. And I think that's what Jerry Jones would say. Now, Sean Payton, you would have to eat up his contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that you have to think about when bringing somebody like Sean Payton around. I think Sean Payton would be a great addition to the Cowboys team because he's able to build championship caliber level people. I could see him coming if two things happen. They fire Mike McCarthy, obviously, bring Sean Payton on because I could see Jerry Jones doing that to make a splash.
Right.
And if they get rid of Dak Prescott. And the reason why I say that is because Aaron Rodgers, there's rumors that he wants to leave too. And people are saying that the Cowboys should get Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. Well, Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, they're not going to work together because Mike McCarthy used to coach for the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers and him had issues when he was the coach over there. And that's one of the major reasons why Mike McCarthy got fired is because he couldn't get along with Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers coming here with Mike McCarthy being on board doesn't make any sense unless you fire Mike McCarthy, have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, and have Sean Payton come in because he's like with what you've seen with the quarterbacks he's been able to build in the past, he could definitely work with somebody like Aaron Rodgers, and like he worked with Drew Brees too. So the other scenario where I would see Sean Payton coming in is if they fire Dak, fire Mike McCarthy, and get Lamar Jackson, because I think Lamar Jackson's going to be a free agent. He has a bad relationship with the Ravens. And somebody like Lamar Jackson coming to the team would make a big splash as well, which is something Jerry Jones would like. So those are the two instances where I could see him being able to release Mike McCarthy, is if those scenarios were to happen. But other than that, I don't see it happening.
I think if they would have done it, they probably would have done it by now, unless they want to be that dark horse, under the radar type of team to make that splash for Sean Payton. I know he's out, and I believe someone said out in Arizona today, interviewing out there. I personally, I know I'm a Denver fan, but we've suffered enough as it is. But I just wouldn't give up what the asking price is. I mean, I get that Sean Payton, we're talking about Sean Payton, kind of where your prediction is where he lands. The asking price for Sean is too much, in my opinion. Especially, I'll speak on Denver's behalf just because of their hardcore all-in on Russ from last year. Gave up, already 2 first rounds last year's, and of course, this year's first round. I would hate for them to really, I would hate for them to give up another one for a coach that may or may not fix an organization. I don't really know.
The Broncos issue is bigger than.
Oh, absolutely.
The coach.
Yeah, they got a lot of issues. It starts with let's ride, dude.
I don't see the Cowboys getting rid of Mike McCarthy, bottom line.
No.
I don't, because like I said, you would think down here he came out of Jesus Christ's womb himself. So I don't know if Jesus Christ would have had a womb, but no offense.
I would say probably
anybody listening. Sorry.
Moving on. Brock Purdy, a pretty good story. I'm not really falling for the Trey Lance potential rumors, because now Brock Purdy is making himself known in San Fran, and I think it's a wonderful story. I think it's going to end this week, but it's a wonderful story. Phenomenal play. I mean, but obviously he's not a starter, in my opinion, yet, that I know of. What's your thoughts on this kid? I mean, could we really see San Fran kind of making a Jimmy G? We always hear Jimmy G. Or a Trey Lance and kind of keep with Brock? Or do you think that this is just a one-hit wonder? He's on a hot streak, and that's about all he's going to be for this year.
I think you have to give him an opportunity, because he's been able to pull through for the 49ers in the postseason, and they're a system type of team, and having him in there, he's done a great job. So I would not see them getting rid of Brock Purdy, or him, maybe unless somebody else picks him up as a quarterback.
Right.
But I would say you'd have to probably re-sign him, because he's done a phenomenal job as a backup quarterback. And Jimmy Garoppolo received a lot of criticism last year for his performance in the playoffs. So um, I want to see how this game is going to play out against the Eagles, because if he's able to win, then you have to re-sign him. There's no doubt about it. And even if he loses, right, or they lose, it depends on his performance. And
True.
he's been performing well. So I don't see them getting rid of him, but I do want to see how he performs against the Eagles, because the Eagles are a really great team.
Speaking of Eagles, is it Jalen Hurts' MVP to lose? I would say.
You said, will Jalen Hurts lose
Do you think
MVP?
Jalen Hurts is the this year's MVP? I know a lot of people got him winning. I know I do personally. I don't obviously vote, but is Jalen Hurts MVP, or do you have someone that could take it away from him, so to speak?
I definitely think it's Jalen Hurts that's going to win MVP. And what sucks is that um, earlier when he had got hurt, his numbers for MVP went down, like on voting on betting websites. Like his, what was it, the what is it, what the spread, or I
The
can't
spread,
oh, is it the spread? Is that what it's called?
the
God.
over under,
Yeah, like the numbers were slim. I can't. You know what? I
the
lost my
plus
train of
minus,
thought. Yeah, whatever.
whatever they
What
that special word for it.
it used to be. Well, here's what I know: the ranking. He was like
Right,
ranked at number one, and then when he got injured, they put Patrick Mahomes over him.
of course.
But now we see how this season has played out, and in my opinion, there's no doubt in my mind why he should not get MVP, because he's been putting up astronomical numbers this season. And for me, Justin Jefferson doesn't cut it for me. Patrick Mahomes, he's out. Joe Burrow would probably be the closest thing. And also, too, um, he in the first 13 games of the season, he had over 3,000 passing yards. He was at a 68% completion rate, and he's thrown some of the least interceptions this season. And he's good at rushing touchdowns, has a lot of rushing yards. And when he had the rushing touchdown against the Giants, he became the first quarterback in NFL history to rush for 10 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. So because of that, I would have to give the MVP to Jalen Hurts, because not only is he performing well in the playoffs, but during the regular season, he was putting up big numbers
Yep.
prior to his injury. So definitely I would give it to him.
I would, excuse me. I would say. I mean, obviously, I'd say Jalen wins. I don't know who would be a close two. Joe, I
I say
think you
Joe
could probably.
Burrow. If it's Joe Burrow, then
Yeah.
if Joe Burrow wins above him, it's rigged. Like
You heard it here, folks.
rigged, because like I mean I get it. Like Joe Burrow's a great quarterback.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that from him. But Jalen Hurts put up big numbers this season. There's no
Yeah,
way
he
it
did.
shouldn't be him at all. And he played in the toughest division in the NFL.
Yep.
Joe Burrow didn't. Jalen Hurts did. You had the Eagles, you had the Giants, and you had the Cowboys, who all three had a really great season.
Hmm.
All three put up numbers. That was the toughest division in the NFL. You mean to tell me you're going to put Joe Burrow above somebody who played at their highest level in the toughest division in the NFL? Not happening.
Jalen Hurts' stat: 3,700 yards, 3,701. If you're one of those people that's exact numbers, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a QBR of 66.3. I know a topic I like to. I know it's speaking of Jalen Hurts, real quick. I think it's kind of bogus. I give Alabama and Oklahoma both credit, but of course, people out there tweeting who gets the credit for Jalen Hurts. Obviously, in my opinion, I think Alabama and Oklahoma kind of shares it. But who do you think? What university should claim his fame in the NFL?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Jeez.
Yeah, I didn't either, but apparently, well, at least
I,
on my timeline, it's a big debate.
I would say Oklahoma. And the reason why I'm giving it to Oklahoma is because he played there in his senior season. And he also, fun note, he played Brock Purdy in
Mm-hmm.
that same season. And Brock Purdy gave him a run for his money.
Yep.
So I don't even know if that's a reason why I'd pick Oklahoma, but just for that reason alone, I'd pick Oklahoma.
It's good enough for me.
Right?
I'll take it.
Yeah, take it.
I'll
Please.
take it.
Take it because that's all I have.
Speaking speaking of MVP, real shortly, Tom Brady. I think he's seen better days. I mean, he's showing some flashes, and he's showing his age is finally kicking in. Do we see Tom Brady? Do we see TB12 in the NFL next year at the age of what, 46, 47?
You're only as old as you feel. And he better come back because he lost Giselle. And let's just get personal because I'm a woman. If I'm married to somebody and you're going to pick football over me, and then you go back to the season and you don't win the Super Bowl, and that's how you perform in the Super Bowl, and you lose to the Cowboys, and you gave up your family for that reason, then you damn sure better go back the next season. Don't tell me you're going to retire after that. Because then why did you lose your family over this? This is what you wanted to lose your family for?
Yep.
So, no, you better return. That's where I'm at. You better return. It's not should he return. It's like he better return because you lost your whole family for that.
So what you're saying, Carolina, is the fact that he should be out there on the 50-yard line in a
Get your ass out
wheelchair.
there till you're 50 years old. Yeah, you lost your family. Figure it out.
I love that one. That one's definitely going to be a clip to post on social media. Last but not least, your preview of championship weekend. Of course, we got the Saints. Lord Jesus, we got the 49ers and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Of course, the rematch from last year's AFC Championship game. The Bengals and the Chiefs, two teams I really can't personally stand, but it is what it is. I got the Eagles and the Bengals winning. Who on my end, on your end, who is your two teams that will represent in the Super Bowl? I mean, no offense, these four teams don't really interest me, but it is what it is.
I would say Bengals. They're gonna see it they're gonna play at this caliber once again. It's gonna be so tough. That 49ers and Eagles game, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it because that one is really hard for me to predict, and I really can't. So I can't believe you're putting me on the spot. But give me the Eagles. They played in a tougher division all season long. Jalen Hurts is playing his best season yet, and they've been playing really well on the run game, and Jalen Hurts has been very, very phenomenal on the RPO. Give me that over Brock Purdy, even though 49ers have the professional playoff experience. Well, Eagles went to Eagles. If they win, this is their second time in 5 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Win, so they've been to the Super Bowl too. Give me
Yep.
the Eagles for that. Bengals over Chiefs because I don't know. I think the Chiefs beat themselves sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I like it. And this one's for a buddy of mine. He wants me to ask you from a non-biased standpoint because I think he's tired of my standpoints and nobody else's standpoints that comes on the show. What went wrong in Denver, in your opinion? He wants a non-biased.
What went wrong in Denver?
Yeah. So pretty much, why did Russ suck so bad this year in Denver?
You know what? That is a really good question. You know what? I heard that the issue was that their offensive line wasn't that good, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I really don't know. And I heard their defense is bad too. I really don't know the stats on Denver and why they were so bad. All I know is that people blamed everybody except for Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Well, people blamed Russell Wilson, but then his teammates came out and then they defended him, and then they said that it wasn't his fault. But at the end of the day, it is his fault. So, but it could be, to me, like, I don't know what it was, but sometimes people want to blame coaching. I would blame coaching too, because
absolutely.
but I would also blame the organization at the top, because I mean, the way I look at the Broncos is the way I look at my Bears. And the Bears have not been successful for a very, very long time because the organization is really bad at making decisions at the top and drafting the right people and putting people in the positions to be successful. And they're constantly getting rid of head coaches. They're constantly getting rid of staff. And you cannot build per Mike Ditka, one of the people that I look up to in football, you can't make a team, a championship team, if you keep hitting the reset button over and over again. People think that'll work. I know firsthand. as a fan of my team that that's not going to work. So there's another vacancy for the head coaching job. So
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like, who are you going
Oh,
to replace?
absolutely.
So to me, it's more so organization and coaching rather than the team itself. I don't know if that's a bad take, but that's how I feel about it.
No, real quick, I think you're spot on because I mean I think that kind of hurts the organization. You're continuously firing head coaches. We see it a lot, obviously in Cleveland. They kind of calmed down on that one, but well, for now. But I kind of hurt. I mean, you got quarterbacks in there, new offensive coordinators, literally year in and year out, and so on and so forth. And final one, Bears next year. Do they make the playoffs or no? I like Justin Fields. That kid's a stud.
I, it's too early for me to say because if I say yes, I'm gonna sound crazy. They need a lot of help on the offensive line, and I want to see what they do in the draft. They have the number one pick in the NFL. They have over $119 million in cap space. Um, I really want them to make the right moves. They need a veteran presence, preferably in the wide receiver core. And to me, they have a lot of moves to make. So early prediction is no, but depending on what they do, in the off season, is what's going to determine how I feel in the future about that.
That's a true fan right there, my opinion.
I think you gotta be a real fan, like, and this is the thing between delusional Cowboys and somebody like me or Bears fans. We're realistic that we suck.
Mm-hmm.
We know we suck. We know the Broncos fans. We know we're
Yep.
garbage. Cowboys fans, not all, but some. In case you pull this clip, not all, but some can be very, 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 very delusional. Like they really thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl this year and they thought they had a chance against the 49ers and everybody could see that they didn't have a chance except for Cowboys fans.
Yep.
Because their thing was any given Sunday, it doesn't matter, any given Sunday, and it didn't happen. So the difference between somebody like us who's realistic and delusional fans is that at least we know we're trash. So that's why when people tell me your team is trash, it doesn't bother me because I'm aware of that. Tell me something I don't know, and then you'll surprise me, and then you'll make me feel good about it. Tell me something I don't know. That's how I feel. Like, if you want to impress me, tell me something I don't know. My team is trash. Okay, I know
Exactly.
that. I know that. Now what? Now what? So is yours, but you didn't think so. You didn't think your team was trash. Now you know. Now get in the boat with us, and let's go fishing together.
It's the off season. Let's all go fishing.
But I
Go
love
on a
the
cruise.
Cowboys. Shout out to the Cowboys. Shout out to all my Cowboys fans out there. I love y'all. This is all for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. For exception of a few of you. But but anyway, I'm gonna respect your time. I know you got a busy night ahead, but Miss Carolina Teague, thank you for coming on and having fun talking sports and talking football, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Thank you so much. The Spurs game starts tonight, so I'm excited to cover that. And thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My honor. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Carolina Teague. Yes. If if that didn't get you riled up, Cowboy fans, I don't know what will. Cowboys talk on ESPN 975. Spurs Reporter on on San Antonio Sports Star and the host of the League of Her Own podcast. You're listening to the Air Attack podcast. Follow us on all major podcast platforms, and we are a proud partner of the Belly Up Media and Belly Up Sports. Listen to all the wonderful podcasts that you can listen to on the network. And until then, we will see you all soon. Take care, guys.